Affairs meeting on HOA, predatory HOAs rather. And at this time, we're going to start with our illustrious brand new senator. And I'll call you Major, right? You're retired? Retired as a major in the Army.
Yep, Army.
So we won't salute today, we'll just fold our hands in prayer. If you don't mind, at this time, we'll start as tradition in most of these meetings. We do start with prayer. Thank you.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for waking us all up with purpose, strength today, guiding us our thoughts, our words, and our actions and reflection. Give us wisdom to lead, courage, and stand for what's right, compassion to serve those in need. Challenge arises. Please anchor and be an obstacle of greatness. In your name, amen.
Amen. Praise God. Again, I thank you. We're going to do real quick introductions. We have several senators who are listening to us by live stream because there are two conferences going on in other cities that they were part of. So they are with us by listening, and they will email us right away or text if they need to ask a question. So we'll ask it for them if they do that. We'll start with our senator that is here, who has blessed us this morning.
Yes, I'm Senator Kenya Wicks. I represent District 34, which encompasses Fayette and Clayton County. Happy to be here, and thank you for your attendance today.
Next.
Hi, my name is Diego Santana. I'm the legislative assistant for Senator James in the Urban Affairs Committee.
And our staff, attorney,
Good morning, Vince Wiegand with the Office of Legislative Counsel.
media,
Good morning, Zach Bishak with the Senate Press Office.
And Katie Sterrett from Senate Research Office.
So we are here today to look at the legislation that's already pending and also to make sure that we have covered everything about predatory HOAs so we can put some structure together, some way to stop the outrageous way that some of the HOAs are proceeding, or not even allowing members to have any input, and it's supposed to be for the homeowner. So we'll start with my pro tem of the city of South Fulton, pro tem, Linda Pritchard, who called me at 7 o'clock this morning, and she made sure she got over here to be the first one because, yes, she is working very hard in the city of South Fulton, and I'm bragging about it because I'm one of the authors of the city of South Fulton. I live there, and y'all are doing a good job now. There have been some little rocky roads, but we appreciate it. But I know that we have many HOAs in the city of South Fulton that's having real problems. So thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing this morning.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I am Mayor Pro Tem Linda Pritchett from the great city of South Fulton, and I represent District 7, which involves Old National Highway, Bethesda Road, and Oakley Industrial. And I have two recommendations. I will be brief. As to what I think would be very helpful and very effective with this HOA situation. My first comment would be related to quorums. Oakley Township particularly, a community that has over 1,400 homes, is now gone in its fourth year of not being able to vote for a board because the current HOA board claims that they did not meet the quorum. So I would like to ask if you can waive a quorum requirement. You know, I know that in your body and in the body that I serve, the requirement is on the board, not the community. So the majority of the community can come to vote, but I think that the quorum is something that's being weaponized. They're weaponizing residents on this. If they don't make a quorum, they pretend like they don't make a quorum when sometimes they do. So if you do keep quorum, that you have a certification process or independent person who will validate that there's a quorum or not. Another issue is the proxy forms. Some HOAs claim, well, you have to use this specific form, and this form has to be particularly issued to each specific person. And they just use a lot of loopholes to keep people from being able to have a vote. So remove quorum, option one. If you keep quorum, have a validation process and a simple proxy process, because the point of it all is just making sure that the people can vote. And in this case, this community has been held hostage by a board and a president who currently does not even reside in the community. So that's one. My second recommendation is related to violations. So in one of these hearings last year, former Senator Brandon Beach had mentioned that why do we not give some of these controls of violations, hand them over to the cities. So in my city, we have our code enforcement board or code enforcement department, which goes around and enforces our code of ordinances, related to, hey, your grass is not cut, or, just regular things. I know that covenants are a little bit more specific, but code enforcement are the trained professionals that are better equipped to deal with violations. We have an app called SeeClickFix, which anyone can report any violation to code enforcement. They come out, assess the situation, allow people an opportunity to cure, and if the issue is not cured, then they'll get issued a citation that goes to our municipal court.
What's that website again?
SeeClickFix.
It's an app, though.
It's an app, and it's an app that many cities use nationwide. And with SeeClickFix, you can report even potholes and even criminal things you can report. But we use SeeClickFix as an administrative tool so that our code enforcement can have violations sent to them, keep track of it, and communicate back and forth with the person reporting it. But what I feel that we have lost with HOAs is the due process, because I've seen HOAs, like particularly even Oakley Township, cite people for not having their house pressure washed in December, knowing that there's no company whose equipment can work in December. But if people do not power wash their house, or they selectively pick on people, then they get fined. Those fines toll at like $100 a day. So you have fines that exceed what people even earn in wages. And I think that if you allow the cities to handle violations and require that the HOA submit not only their covenants but their bylaws to the city, then we can cut down on what I consider a lot of foolishness and a lot of the heartache and hardship that this creates on our residents.
Yes. Wow.
And I'll take any questions. I'm so glad to see Legislative Council here. I hope this resonates, because I really think that, a lot of people are losing their homes based on HOAs, finding them excessively, then putting liens on their house, and then getting to the point of foreclosure where people are feeling like they do not want to live in HOA communities. And I think that the reason that HOAs were established was for uniformity, to preserve, home values and, create a sense of community. But in many instances, HOA board members are not professional, are not trained, do not know parliamentary procedure, just arbitrarily treat people however they want to. And this is not all HOAs. I was a vice president of an HOA that we established from a declarant board, and we did a lot of great things in the community. So I believe there are great HOAs, but it also means that people have to get educated, have the proper training, and understand why they're doing it for the community, not to hurt the community. But with that, I yield.
Well, do we have any questions, members? Yes.
Good
Introduce
morning,
yourself.
Madam Councilwoman.
Good morning, my senator.
Yeah, I'm State Senator Rashawn Kemp, represent Senate District 38, and proudly represent a portion
Thank you.
of City of
Thank
South
you for
Fulton. And I was listening to your remarks as I was coming in, and thank you for coming and speaking about Oakley Township. Last week, I attended a community meeting with a room full of folks from Oakley Township. And so, one, do you represent that area?
Yes.
Okay, so I definitely want to get with you and talk
Yes.
with you about that HOA. I know you mentioned quorum. One thing that I, gleaned from that meeting was the use of proxies, and that the community, the HOA, is not certifying or saying that the proxies that are being used are certifiable, pretty much. Do you think that we would solve an issue if the state had some sort of like standard, proxy form or something to say that this is, a state-recognized proxy, so that we take away that confusion or use of confusion to get a outcome that these HOA boards are trying to get by saying that they're not going to accept proxies that the community is putting forward?
Absolutely. Before you came in, I was saying that there are two options: either remove the quorum requirement altogether, because quorum really should be for the body, the governing body, not the community.
Community, yeah.
So that's one option. But if you do continue with the quorum, to have what your suggestion is a standard state form, and then also someone, an independent person that will certify the quorum.
Okay, great, thank you.
And also that the quorum, even if you keep the quorum, don't make the percentage so high.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Well, thank you, but I would like to ask one other question about something you didn't say. And I get numerous calls from those who live on Old National Highway in the Camelot
Oh, Jesus.
condominiums. And they've had trouble for years. And they've had fires that, somebody else got the money for it and didn't fix their, so insurance problems. And what do you, in fact, do we have anybody from Camelot that's in here today? They have been at least 3 of our 5 meetings. So would you like to respond to that? Because I know that's in your district too, correct?
It's not in my district, but I definitely can speak towards this. Camelot, being a condominium association, what happens with HOAs, they are nonprofit organizations, and they are under the Secretary of State. However, there is no regulatory body to make sure that these boards are functioning the
Yes.
way that they're supposed to. So there is no legislation that gives any punitive damage or any or have any teeth in it where a board member or a board, say, misappropriates or embezzles or steals HOA funds or HOA dues or commits insurance fraud, things like that. There has to be a regulatory body that oversees how these HOAs function. As I mentioned earlier, HOA boards have they're just people, just regular people that have no training, no specific requirement in background, but yet these can be board members that oversee millions of dollars in funds. And so the situation in Camelot has gone from a civil problem to criminal problems, and we don't speak about that, but I think that the regulatory portion of overseeing HOAs would be very helpful, because then somebody does have to serve and do the job, but they need to follow the law. And I know that there is a law. Generally, nonprofit organizations, they have to function certain ways. Like, they have to meet quarterly. They have to have a certain number of members. They have to publish their budget. They have to respond to certain things. And HOAs just do what they want to do. There's an HOA in our city that's a husband and wife HOA. It's just the two of them serving, and no one can seem to get them off the board. And we have to get away from these type of abuses, because there is no one overseeing or watching over them with any consequence, any legal or
Yes.
punitive consequence.
Thank you so much for addressing that, and we will keep that in consideration, because this is not just for houses, it's also for condominiums and trailer parks, any association that houses people. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me,
Okay.
Senator. And what I tried to do last year in my city was to establish a HOA task force. However, there wasn't really an appetite for it on our council. I think they just simply don't understand how imperative this initiative is. However, I still will be getting together with residents, stakeholders in my community, in our city, and bringing forth a comprehensive recommendation for you all that I think if you take any part of it, any little bit that you all can do, I think will go a long way.
I appreciate it, and I personally appreciate it since I'm in your city. Thank you very
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next person to come forward is Caroline Simmons. Hi, Ms. Simmons. How you doing?
How are you all doing today?
Okay, we're doing good. Before you speak, let me just let people know that we're reviewing some of the legislation that has already been introduced. So if you could, speak on that as well. And that's the Senate Bill 107. And it is about homeowners associations, that will create a ombudsman, so that those members of the HOA or the COA will be able to go to that office and not have to spend funds to get a lawyer to work on. Yeah, and then often you don't know whether you really have violated any law, or if it's any law that could protect you when they are putting liens on you. So at that time, then you can still go to that office and they'll have a direct contact with us. And I think that we asked for it to be created, but in the Rules Committee subcommittee, we had a young lady who is the chair of the Community Affairs.
Yeah.
The new chair of the Community Affairs that talked to us about it possibly being something similar in her office. And it's from the Secretary of State's office. So that would be something that we would oh yes. The Georgia Division of Securities and Business Regulations. And so we like that, and this bill could change to, instead of the Community Affairs Department, to the Georgia Secretary of State's office under Georgia Division of Securities and Business Regulations, because they do that now with businesses and other entities in the state of Georgia. So it would just be another added division under them. So, you know, that wouldn't cost a lot. And she even broke it down to how much each association would have to pay. And I think that would be very good, and that would solve a lot of problems that we already have. And the other one is the
108.
Property Owners Association Certificate of Good Standing. You know, many of the people who are losing their homes because they had too many liens may have paid 20 years, you know, and paid on time and never had any other liens. But they get one lien and then the fines added to it and quickly come to $2,000 worth of liens. And then they will lose their homes. We want to make sure that they have, in other words, receipts to show that I've been in good standing and I'm in good standing now. Just, you know, I have a conflict with what is happening, this one issue that's happening. So we want to make sure that, you know, we look at that as well. But without further ado, please come before us. You come before us before.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that your issue is taken care of in the reform package, I guess I'll call it, that we're about to do.
Yes, my name is Caroline Simmons. I am the lead plaintiff in a lawsuit against Waldrop Park Condominium Association. We are suing our board members simply because they do not want to follow the law. They do not want to follow what is in our declaration. They've decided that they are the end-all, be-all, and we will do what they say.
Right.
But there are a group of us who have decided that we would sue them. The problem is that we are suing with our money and we are defending with our money people who are against us. I want to give you a couple of examples of things that are going on in my community right now. In 2021, we installed water meters. I live in a condo complex, 228 units, 4 units per floor, 12 units per building, 19 buildings. They were not metered. Everybody was paying within their HOA dues for their water. In 2021, our board decided we would be individually metered. We paid $354 for our meters that we just finished paying for in August of 2024. Our current board has now enforced that we will pay $1,610 for an infrastructure change to our water closets and new water meters. They have not provided any evidence that there were any leaks. Our board president stated that we had 55 units that had a problem, but the other 173 also had to suffer. That is a total of $367,280. As of today, we owe a water bill to DeKalb County of well over $635,000 that money would have been better used for. Our board doesn't have a solution to that, but yet they are going after those of us who decided not to pay the $1,610. That $1,610 is now costing us $1,860. Why, we don't know, because the original was that they would not change out the meters if we did not pay. Well, they changed them anyway, and now they're billing us. In November of last year, I was managing my homeowners association. I've had every position on this board in this community, and I've managed the association twice. The current board let me go, which was perfectly fine, but I warned them that someone was going to sue, and I am that someone. I lead the charge in my community because there are others that are not willing to do so because our board is retaliatory. I put up a sign about having a meeting in our community in the parking lot, and they fined me $5 per building per sign for $95. But they told me that I had 3 days to take the sign down. But because I did not take the sign down when they told me to, they decided they were going to keep the fine on my books. Not a problem. Explain it to a judge. We also have the problem of our board has decided that we don't need to vote. The law states that in the Condominium Act, that any special assessment over $200 has to be voted on by the community. Our board said, no, we don't have to, because we're installing meters. While our meters were installed in 2021, this is a replacement and a maintenance issue. Therefore, under Georgia law, we are supposed to vote. A vote was held, and then we were told, just like everybody else, we didn't meet quorum. We had a vote for the members of our board. We didn't meet quorum. Yet the board will not post a $300 payment that I made last year because they want to know where my money came from. I'm assuming they're trying to state that I stole from the association, and they've had a year of telling people that I stole money from the association when I was on the board, yet they have not proved it. And I've given them plenty of time to do so. So,
Are you
I
suing about that also?
not yet. I let them build their own case against them. If you want to act stupid, I will act stupid with you. I will let you build your own case, and then you explain to the judge why you've done the things that you've done. Because right now, that's the only recourse that we have, is to go through the courts. We don't have, like you said, an ombudsman in order to go to. And it cost us thousands of dollars to get a temporary restraining order when our board in May decided to turn off water against the law to 50 units in our community because they would not pay for the meters. And then to lie to the police and tell the police that we had gone through a long, protracted court battle that we had not, that they had the right to turn it off because we did not pay. The police would not do anything because it's a civil matter. But yet we filed the police report in order to keep everything on the record. Last year, we were voting for 2 positions on the board. Well, we did not meet quorum because they would not count the proxies that I held because they will not count the $300, so they say that I'm behind in my dues. They are doing everything in their purview to keep us in the position that we currently are. My community doesn't have a lot of money, and yeah, there are a lot of people who are not paying their dues. They don't pay because they don't see what's going on. I tell them, you still got to pay because we can't fix anything if we do not have the money. But we don't know where our money is going either, because I've been asking since February 5th of this year for a copy of the financials, and I've yet to receive them. What I did receive was a letter from the attorney to our attorney asking whether or not I was entitled to have that information. I've lived in this community under a trust since 2020. Now all of a sudden it's, do I even own the unit? What documentation do I have to own the unit? So I sent it in, because I want these financials to go through them and figure out where our money is going. Well, now my request is bewildering. That's the attorney's word that he put in his letter to me when he told me not to contact the board any further because I was harassing them, asking them every 15 days for the financials for the community that my money helps fund, that the other 227 units in my community help fund. We're pulling up bushes around buildings in order to placate an insurance company is what we were told. We were given a lot of ideas and reasons. The bushes around our building are being pulled up, and supposedly that's supposed to lower our insurance. But they're also being pulled up because people are hiding drugs and guns in the bushes. They're also being pulled up because the roots are growing into the building. Well, pick a story. I need you to pick one and stick with it. If whatever lie you are going to tell, please make that your standard lie. You can't tell 3 different people different lies because we all talk to each other. That's another thing. Emailing people in my community is a problem for my board. They don't want us talking to one another because when we talk with one another, we stand together as a community. So I say this all, and that's not everything, that's just a short version. There's more. I say this to say, if the state of Georgia does not put in an ombudsman committee, what is going to end up happening is these boards are going to continue to be rogue. They're not listening to their attorneys. Their attorneys are doing whatever it is that the board wants them to do. Even though they may be advising them properly on what needs to be done, they can only do so much. The boards are in place. There needs to be an education that these boards need to go through so that they understand what the laws are. Because my board, I can show them the law and they'll tell me that's not what it says. So
You can show them the law and they tell you you're crazy. What do they say?
I do not talk to my board that I do not record the conversation because they will say they didn't say what they said.
Okay.
So
Good.
I have a conversation with them where I had a hearing. I showed them the law on the screen that said that I can communicate with the other homeowners in my community and I don't need their consent to do so. They told me that's not what it says, that it clearly says you have to get our approval in order to talk to people. I wanted to cuss, but I didn't. I want to cuss right now, and I'm not.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate you.
but it's just, If the state of Georgia doesn't do it, where do we go? All of us don't have enough money to keep continuing to sue these boards for the things that they do and that they want to do. And I don't have enough time to go to school and get a law degree to file. We can't find attorneys who are willing to do it. We don't have the money to do it. $25 per house in my community is much cheaper than $3.25 an hour for an attorney. I don't care if y'all charge us $100 a house in a community. The ombudsman is well worth it for $100 a year.
I thank you.
That's the short version of my long story.
Thank you very much. Members, do you have any questions? No?
All right.
Thank you so much for coming, and
No
we
problem.
will make sure we take in consideration everything you
Thank you.
said. Appreciate you. The next person is
Patricia?
look at you, Miss Patricia. You can read that far?
My favorite
I
lady.
can't. I better put my glasses on, right? Go ahead. Thank you so much for being here.
As always, and I appreciate you guys coming out and doing everything that you can to support any legislation, we'll take anything. You've heard a lot of stories. They're all true. I can sit here and give you another hour's worth of pretty much the same thing that
Please
the fine
don't,
lady.
not an
No,
hour.
no. Yeah, no, because I'm
We
gonna
have
keep it
6
short.
more
I'm like
speakers after
Linda.
you, and they
I've been
5
here.
minutes at the most.
Right,
for
exactly.
everybody.
I've been here several times making my case, and
Yeah, I
everything that you heard, something has to be done. Something. And a lot of that something has to be done. You have HOAs that are, like you said, predatory. And I'm going to emphasize the fact they're going after the elderly. Fixed income, I'm telling you. I can't stress that enough. They're the easy target, and they need protection. Second, I don't believe there should be any opportunity for a HOA board to be able to put a foreclose on a home. I don't believe they have the right. There has to be some legislation. I understand putting a lien, and then when I sell my house, you can get my violations and stuff like that. But the foreclosure has to come off the table. It is not fair. I don't even think it's constitutionally right, because I pay the mortgage. I didn't sign on the dotted line with the HOA. Okay, I understand we fall on hard times. I understand, there's violations and everything like that. But to take our home has to come off the table. Whatever you guys figure out, that has to come off the table.
Exactly.
I agree with the fine lady in terms of an ombudsman office or some kind of office that we can go to that we can be heard, because she's right. We're paying tens of thousands, and I have already done so, tens of thousands of dollars, and they're using HOA
Your
dues to come after, us. And we spoke at a meeting, Senator Kemp, and I can only tell you the emotion, the psychological pain, the suffering that's going on in not only our community, but several HOAs. Yes, people are moving out. They're saying, you know what, I'd rather live in an apartment complex than deal with this, because we do not have the peace in our homes, and we have a right to it. Just like noise complaint, we have a right to have quiet enjoyment and peace in our home. I can quote Georgia Code, POA Code. I can the Georgia Association. We fall under the nonprofit code. We fall under the corporate code. But we can't use any of those codes and those protections unless we're in litigation, because the HOA board is going to say, you know what, see you in court. And you're right. A lot of us don't have the money. A lot of us are in fear. And we just don't want to, some that just want to stay in the back burner because we don't want to be pegged. We don't want to be targeted. You know what I mean? So something has to be done.
So, excuse me, but are you saying that when you come forward with a question or a disagreement, that they do,
Retaliation.
yes, against you?
Retaliation, harassment, bully. I can give you a whole bunch of adjectives. It is disgusting. I've lived in my community for 16 years, and I have never experienced what I've experienced with this current board. It's sad, it's unfortunate, and you guys got to help us. You want our support, we need your support, okay?
Absolutely.
And I know you got tons of stories you're going to hear, but take the foreclosure off the table, because it's hanging people. Yeah, yeah. So.
We actually have 3 people, 2 of them are in the House side that have legislation already about getting rid of the plan for
The foreclosure.
foreclosure on any of the,
Yeah,
just
I-
because of liens, only because of liens.
Right, I
Because
just-
if you owe money though, then
Yeah, I don't have a problem with, a legitimate violation and everything, and it's, you didn't pay it. So tack it on as a lien. You sell the house and look, you got to pay this back. But to take elderly people and even young people starting out in our community, and we don't read the bylaws, but that is something we have to get people to understand. When you sign for that house, read the bylaws. Find out how many lawsuits have been in this community. Call the HOA management company and find out. But we're so happy just to buy a house and be able to plant flowers.
and you deserve to be able to buy
Absolutely,
your house
yeah,
and
absolutely.
enjoy your house. So
Exactly.
We appreciate you coming, and I want to know if we have any. Yes, please.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have a question. I just want to thank you because I know you have continually came down here and spoke in front of this committee, and I just want to thank you, Senator James, for continuing to press this issue. Having gone to Oakley Township and Miss Wise, you being there and putting my feet to the fire, and I appreciate it because it breaks my heart to hear a Georgian have to say that I would rather live in an apartment complex than live in a home, which is the American dream, right? And we have HOAs that are forcing people to make that decision,
Yeah.
and that should not be. And so we have work to do, and I am absolutely committed to trying to do something. As I shared when we met, we're in the minority, so we have to work across the aisle and get our Republican colleagues to see that it's not just our communities that are saying that we just want to have a house where we can plant flowers and raise our kids.
Man.
Our communities are not the only ones that are making the decision to say, you know what, I'm just going to move rather than deal with a HOA that is forcing me to go through this. And so we have to continue to force the issue with them, and we're committed to make sure that we try to do everything that we can to make sure that Georgians don't have to go through this anymore.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And also, and this is, I'm going to say the last thing. You have, like military, I'm prior military. You got retirees in there. You've got people who have, help us. Yeah. Thank you.
That's why we're here.
Yes. Thank you so
We
much.
want to make sure that we do help. I was trying to talk with our governor and lieutenant governor, and they haven't given me an appointment yet.
I would like to talk to the lieutenant governor. Yes, if
But
we can get an
hopefully,
appointment,
after 3 months of asking,
we can all show up there. Yeah.
I can't believe it, but I guess everybody's busy.
Well, you know what's going to happen, and this is what we talk about in our community, and and I made a mention of this before, and you want our support, well, we need yours, and we do that at the polls. You know what I mean? And that's just that's it. I mean, you guys are familiar. You guys know what's happening out here, and a lot of people say, well, you can't do anything because it's an under the table kind of thing with attorneys and the HOA LLC. I'm like, okay, well then let's get out from underneath the table and show ourselves approved and see what's happening, because a lot of people they're losing their homes for bogus. So, but anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ms. Wise. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we will be working with you. I
Thank
might
you.
call on you personally on the phone.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Anytime.
All right, thank you. Ms. Danielle Reyes, how you doing? Come on up. Mhm.
Hold on, I forgot my Bible, which has become the covenant.
Yeah, you can, everyone can speak over there if they want to, or be more comfortable and sit here.
Oh, okay,
It's up to you.
okay.
Sure, we prefer you to stand or sit.
Okay. If I can name, may I stand? Is that?
You can sit behind the podium if you want to.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's afternoon.
Yes, it is. Oh, 05.
Oh, goodness. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danielle Reyes. The last time I was here was on September 16th, and I spoke to everyone about my then situation. I have an update. Not a good one. Since I last spoke on September 16th, I retained counsel. I received an abatement notice from Tolly Community Management. Tolly Community Management is the property management company for the subdivision that I live in. I live in unincorporated Marietta. I moved here all the way from Southern California in July of 2024 with my little dog, Kobe, 22-pound poodle, and I bought a house for him and for myself. And as we heard earlier from Senator, is that Kemp, that the American dream is to buy a house. Pardon? Oh, yes, the good Kemp. Okay. Okay, got it. Understood. He noted that, the American dream is to buy a house. And I would agree with him. And lately I've been questioning, is it still the American dream? Because this isn't the dream that I expected when I moved here from Southern California to become a homeowner in the beautiful state of Georgia. Yeah. I love Georgia. I fell in love with Georgia when I was able to travel back and forth. And that's why I decided to purchase my house in the state of Georgia. Now, I'm not anti-HOA. What I am, though, is anti-retaliation, anti-bullying, anti-selective enforcement, anti-abusive process. A lot of antis, but not anti-HOA. HOAs could be good if they're used properly. And I think that's what we really need to focus on. And I think that is why it's really important with the work we're doing here today to create some positive change, and we can have some regulatory oversight so that way HOAs can be checked, just as other entities and institutions are checked. So, since the last I saw everyone here today, and the house was packed. It's not as quite packed today as it was on September 16th, and I bet that's probably because of the rain. And also the last minute notice that, I found out about this very last minute. I know it was canceled, and now we're here again, and so thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm a very positive person, maybe because I grew up in Southern California and I got a lot of sunshine, but I learned as a little girl, my dad said, when you get lemons, what do?
Make lemonade.
You make lemonade. So everyone, today I've been making a lot of lemonade. And you know what? The lemonade is a lot sweeter in Georgia. And so I'm in this space. Now I learned that a lien was placed on my property. It was placed on my property on October 15th. I mentioned I hired counsel. The lien notice that I received, we were in negotiations on whether the actual violation was even valid, because that's what's at dispute. I am being persecuted over mulch. If you saw the before and after photo, it's unbelievable. You would think that I'm being fined over the before photo, not the after photo. Because again, I'm a new homeowner. I'm trying to get acclimated with the community and, be a good homeowner, make my house beautiful, which it is. You can drive by my house and see there's nothing wrong with my property. The reality is that the board is supposed to act as a board, and the board does not consist of one individual that can use their role to retaliate against the neighbor that they have an issue with. But that happens. So, what started out as a civil dispute over crepe myrtles appears to now be the issue with me getting subsequent retaliatory fines levied against me. What they're asking for, I've already spent money with counsel and, with sending out mailings to my neighbors, expressing to them what's happening in our subdivision, because it's not okay. And I'm here to share my story because now the next step, I guess, is I have to contest the lien. The lien that I received, I placed all the funds into my attorney's trust account, pending the outcome of the determination of whether or not the actual lien and violations were itself valid. That's still at dispute. I was told my governing documents don't allow for a hearing. Again, the board president is out campaigning for a House seat in the state of Illinois, and I guess there aren't any residency requirements on whether or not you need to live in the state of Georgia. That's something I'm still trying to figure out, because there's nothing I can find that says you have to live in the state of Georgia. But I think it would be important to have a board president that's actually actively involved in the matters of the association. But I guess the U.S. House of Representatives seat is a lot more important than being board president. So, who's really running the show? It reminds me of Abbott and Kinney. Who's on first, who's on second? What's really going on? If you don't know who that is, just look it up. It's really old. Anyhow.
We know about it.
You do? Okay, good. Yes. So,
Thank you.
So, I'm here to ask for help. What do we do next? I heard someone earlier mention foreclosure, and I fear that's what's next. It's not about the lien or the amount of money. I've spent that 3 times over. It's about justice. It's about proving to me that the actual violation I received is in fact valid. And to say that there's no hearing and it's just what it is not okay. Mulch, you can foreclose on my house over mulch. That's a material change when a homeowner is simply trying to maintain their property. My questions are, how many homeowners received a fine over mulch? I've spoken to several homeowners in my subdivision. They've never had to get permission to change out pine straw to mulch.
Wow. Well, we have heard this a few times from people. Even the very first person that came to me put a little rock garden in her front yard, but it was very beautiful. She paid a landscaper. And the reason she put it there is because she had one child, and her child had some mental challenges. And it was recommended by the therapist that she put flowers in the garden. It was so beautiful. She brought the pictures when she first put it up, and 6 months later, but they kept finding her for that one thing.
Right. And
they tried to sell her house on the courthouse steps. So that's when I got involved, and it's been a couple of years now. Thank goodness they did not succeed.
Amen.
But we had no regulations.
Right.
So they could have done what was in that contract. And she suggested that since you have to sign the contract of your HOA when you're purchasing your home, doing the closing, and most people don't even, haven't read it, don't understand it. And it's they don't tell you in advance. They'll give you a little booklet and say, okay, well, you got to sign this. Well, you at closing, you want to buy your house.
Right.
And so she did that, and so she was able, though.
Well, that's a great point that you raised, Senator James, because I was told by the board president, Eric France, in a community meeting we had via Google Meets, that I should have received my governing documents at the closing. And my response is, okay, well, I didn't, and we're here now, and they're supposed to be uploaded to the Tolly Community Management website. And I pointed out that I received violations in May. I've been dealing with this since May is when I received the first violation. It was incorrect. I received a level 3 violation, and it was my first one, so I had to point that out. That was fixed, and then I received subsequent violations. And the ACC guidelines were not even uploaded to the Tolly website until June 10th. So make it make sense. It doesn't. You know, you're sending out violations and you don't even have the guideline posted on the website. So, you know, I moved here from California, as I said. I went to Boston College for law school, and instead of studying for the Georgia State Bar, I'm studying the covenants. They have literally become my Bible. I know more about the covenants than I ever thought I wanted to know. And I, you know, the plan is to sit for the Georgia State Bar in 2026. However, as anyone that's in here that is an attorney knows, you can't sit for the bar and have collection action against you. So this is damaging to me personally. And I want to be able to sit for the Georgia State Bar and become a member of the bar. I'm a first-generation college student. I went to the University of Southern California. Fight on, Trojan here. And
Where in California? She's a
USC.
She's jumping up and down.
Oh, okay. I'm from my nice. I
So
love San
bouncing up
Diego.
and down.
Yes, I grew up in Southern California. My neighbors were Mickey Mouse, Goofy, and Donald Duck. I grew up in Anaheim, and so I went to USC for undergrad, and then as a first-generation college student, I always wanted to go to law school and become an attorney, and so I went to Boston College for law school, and now I would like to become a member of the Georgia State Bar. And instead of studying for the Georgia State Bar, I'm studying covenants and trying to fight a lien against me for mulch.
Well, thank you, and your 5 minutes was up 3 minutes ago.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I do
Thank you for your time.
want you to be a part of, and anyone who wants to be a part of a sit-down meeting with me the first week of December, and I want all our members to have at least one person on there as well.
I would
We're
love
gonna-
to.
We're going to talk about specifics. We're going to actually be looking at the law and everything as we do this.
Well, I would love to get involved and help however I can, because this is bigger than me, and I realize that this is just part of my walk and my testimony, and I will, you know, do whatever I can to continue to fight for my property rights as a
Yes.
homeowner, and hopefully one day, after I pass the Georgia State Bar, I can help other homeowners, and I can pay it forward and be able to make a positive difference in the beautiful state of Georgia. Thank you for your time, and if anyone wants to collaborate or connect with me, I would
Yeah.
love to support however I can.
Please talk to Dory.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I don't know if our members had any questions, but I think we're going to move forward to our next speaker, Christina Potts. Oh, yeah, Miss Potts. How you doing? I'm good. Good to see you. Please do. Okay.
Oh, familiar faces, familiar faces. I feel like we're getting to know each other. I appreciate you guys for taking this time and having this meeting again today. And I'm not going to share my story, but it's striking how similar Daniela's story is to mine. Very striking. Almost some of the dates coincide exactly, which is very ironic, but a year apart from each other, it seems like. And so, you know, I'll just lay it out. I've spent over $10,000 on bushes, on the fact of a bush, you know, different lengths of bush. Even though I did what they required, they still fined me. And it was because I spoke up, and we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. But I'm looking here at the
Can
bill.
I ask you one thing?
Yeah.
When you say bushes, you mean like shrubs?
Shrubs, yes.
shrubs.
So they would pinpoint, actually got to a point of a certain height that wasn't required. And then it got to this branch, they would actually send me a picture and circle a branch, and they would charge me $100 a day per branch. To the fact that I had fines over
That's me.
$6,500 in legal fees and fines that were all charged from just branches. But I would just want to talk about the bill, because that's the main focus here, and I just want to see some legislature pass, because as we all know, that's what we need. As we talked last time, Section 5 in the bill, the date says July 1st, 2025.
Yes.
And I think that needs to be removed. With having that date, again, it's
Which
not.
bill?
The
107 or 108?
108.
Okay.
So when we're looking at the 108 and it's section 5, this line 70, 76, 78, is that what you see? Just make sure where it says July 1st, 2025.
Okay, yes.
I want to make sure we all are.
Well, these numbers are gonna have to change anyway.
Oh, okay, okay. So
The numbers-
the
that's why
date,
we're here
we just-
today,
I
to-
just think the
to
date
tweak
should
it.
be removed.
okay.
So because what we're doing is we're excluding all the people who have homes and condos in Georgia, so this would not impact them at all, which is 22% of the population of Georgia. So we want this bill to actually have impact, so we need to remove that date.
Right.
And
Thank you.
these covenants, usually they have a 20-year cycle. So
Yes.
once somebody signs that agreement with the board or with the management, I'm sorry, with the HOA, it's a 20-year cycle. So it says renewal, so that, imagine that homeowner having to wait 20 years. And in Georgia, it's automatic renewal. So they don't have to vote again for a renewal. It automatically renews. That's something we should consider too. Why is there
Yes.
automatic renewal on these covenants? And also, I'm gonna reiterate again, the way we could solve with the violations is to remove fines, violation fines from being foreclosed on or even having a lien against. So again, assessment, separating the fines, assessment for dues, assessment for, I'm trying to think what is a word I'm looking for.
Remove all
ju-
fines or remove
Well,
the
well,
fines for?
violation fines. Violation fines. For example, the young lady who spoke before me, mulch. That's a violation fine. Once that's
Yes.
removed, we say you cannot put a lien for violation fines. That would cure a lot of things, because a lot of retaliation is used by violation fines.
Okay, yes.
So
We agree.
if we add that verbiage or make it in it's line 39, if we add that in there, and line 39, that would solve a lot of issues. Because a lot of fines are based on violation, a trash can, a little pile of rocks that are actually beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, or mulch, new mulch, or in my case, a bush that has a branch that's an inch too high.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and so also a mandatory fine schedule. So there's been cases where fines have, if you go to a lawyer, they say, okay, based on other cases, there should be a fine schedule. But there is no mandatory fine schedule in Georgia. So, this HOA can charge $25 a day. And in my case, normally it's $25 a day, but they charged me $100 a day because they just didn't like me. And so it's just they can charge arbitrary fines. So there should be a mandatory fine schedule. And that would also give a lot of solutions. So I think,
At this time, the fines are in your covenant.
that's not true.
Or
So are they,
they bring it before the body in the bylaws. And in the bylaws, it'll say how much your fine is and how much not completing and get a added fine.
Okay.
But that if you have not resolved the issue, and then they can give you, some people say every week, or some people say 3 months, or something to satisfy the problem that they gave you the lien for. So, but if it's not in there at all, that's why we're here, because most of them just doing this arbitrarily and not.
correct, I can.
Yes, so we
I
wanna make
can
sure that-
testify that mine did not have a fine schedule.
Okay.
And even though when I requested a fine schedule, they came back and said, we don't need to give you a fine schedule, there's no law. Yeah, so,
Hopefully it will be some laws
Mm-hmm.
and some ways to regulate what's going on now.
okay.
Okay.
That's all I have to say today. I appreciate your time, and
Well, can you,
and we just got to move forward with this. I mean, we have to have this pass, and we just need a little changes with the lingo, and so that there can be some impact with the bill, because the last thing we want is no impact. A bill
Exact-
passed with no impact, and I did look. There was no update on Brass's bill. It's the exact same wording that I met with him in January. There's been no updating of that and at all. It's still couple
He-
sentences.
I don't think he had, oh, yes, he did drop a bill on the last day of the session. And we wanted to talk about it today, but we wanted his committee to do that since he does. Well, what happened is my bill for a study committee on HOAs did pass, but the lieutenant governor did not put any members on the study committee, and he put that study committee in rules to be a subcommittee of rules, and Senator Brass is the chairperson.
Correct.
And that is, and I was supposed to be on that committee because I am a chairman, but not in rules. So I was on the first meeting that he had, and then they told me I'm not on rules, so they took me off.
Well, I'm sorry to hear
But
that.
I still go to the meetings.
Okay.
This is still an issue that I've been fighting for, even before legislation. You know, I had gone to many HOAs, as Senator Kemp can tell you. We're invited to neighborhood associations all the time, and HOAs, COAs, all of them. And when we go, we still fighting. We come back and try to find some way to help them. So we were doing this before we start putting legislation in and before we start having hearings. So the hearings, the study committee, I guess we'll give recommendations, but we want to do more than recommendations. We want to have the legislation in place to resolve some of these major issues. I know this is coming up, election year, because I was told this by one of the administrators that's a senator too that called me the other day, and that we were only going to look at the budget and a couple of other things. But I hope all the people in this room and everybody else in those 100+ subdivisions that have contacted us and said they're having problems, I hope they'll come to the Senate when we have that meeting.
Do you have any idea of when that would be?
Well, we don't start until the second Monday
Okay.
in January, and it's pomp and circumstance for me. That's what I call it, for the first couple of weeks. So I guess around the 1st of February, we want to be right there in that number.
Is it fair, do we think that Brass is going to move forward with anything? I mean, he canceled the last meeting.
I
Do you
know
have any
that he
idea?
is very interested because from the beginning, he found out one of the areas that he represents is Coweta County.
I'm from that district, yeah.
Okay, and so he found out that his constituents were having serious issues, and he's been working very hard to try to resolve them. One of the main senator that's in the majority party has gone on to Washington now in a position there, very high position. But we still have talked about this, and he still gives me his comments.
Okay.
And that's Senator Beach. So we know that we're trying to get more people in the majority party to look at the situation so that they can at least tell us what they'll vote for, and we get the major bills, major issues, especially those on foreclosure.
What pushback do you hear from CAI or Community Association Institute? Do you hear any pushback from them or any kind of
Which
request?
one? See what?
CAI, Community Associates Institute, or
No, they haven't even.
or any-
they haven't
any-
even come.
any of
come
these
here.
management
They've been
companies?
invited, but they have not come, and they've not made any statements. So we're going to continue.
so there is
to
no
work.
opposition to this bill, it seems, from the outside, from lobbying?
It's oppositions, and then there are, on the other hand, there are people who are recommending it and applauding it. So we have to see when the session starts again, and also some of the bills that some of the members have that we haven't, that's not a bill yet. They're putting it together. And two of the people who are not here today in person also had serious issues, one in Gwinnett County and one in Savannah area. So, And so we're going to move forward. And any questions, pressing questions? If not, thank you so much for being here. Okay. One.
Yeah, Ms. Potts, not a question, but you mentioned that you live in Coweta County. I would ask you to please reach out to Senator Brass's office and ask for another meeting as we
Yes.
prepare for this next legislative session.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you, please.
I will. I plan on doing that.
Okay.
Hopefully he could see me today.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you
If he's here.
He's here.
Oh, he is? He's right next door there.
Oh, well, he's right next door then. He's here. If he's here, his office is right behind us.
Okay,
All right,
one, two,
okay.
three. We have three more people that we're gonna hear from, and then we'll take any questions from, if we have time. Connie Robinson, and she will be followed by Shirley Ann Allen. Hi. Hi, how you doing?
Yes, good afternoon.
Ms. Robinson.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here and see every one of you again, and congratulations. I am Connie Robinson, and I am an HOA president, as well as I am a grassroots organizer for HOA collaboration across the city of South Fulton, but also it extended into a couple of other states as well. So I formed this organization with my board at the time back in 2022 because I know that HOA board members are, regardless of their education, their professional status, and their level of experience, dealing with HOAs can be a unique matter, and we as board members are not alone, but a lot of times we act as if we are. So the theory behind trying to pull us together is so that we could learn from each other. We could share best practices. We could share vendor information. We can help each other as it relates to peer consulting, in terms of what we're going through and dealing with our homeowners that may be unique to us at the time, but other board members may have some experience as to how they've handled different situations. Additionally, working together, many of our communities have law firms, and we also have management companies. So we're able to reach out and share what we've learned from our law firms and our management companies as it relates to the experiences that we are having within our communities. We also try to have HOA forums to educate one another and share different experiences as it relates to lawsuits and things like that when it comes to going to court or handling legal matters regarding our homeowners. So those are just a few of the things that we've tried to do in terms of working together to educate each other, because we don't really have an enforcement arm. We don't have training. We don't have, there's so many don'ts. And so I thank you, Senator James, for your legislation that you're trying to push forward, because an ombudsman office will give us that additional oversight, will give us that educational piece that we're lacking. Homeowners, we come in buying our home, not really thinking about, our role and responsibilities as it relates to living in an HOA community. Many of us are blindsided by what that actually means. And as it was mentioned earlier, trying to make quorum and things of that nature, we struggle with that. And oftentimes, our board members do stay in place because we're supposed to have a successor come before we can step down, right? And when that doesn't happen, we're stuck because, one, we don't want our communities to go down if we don't have a board in place that's managing the day-to-day operations of our community and trying to maintain our property values and keep everything afloat. But on the flip side, we do have those rogue boards that don't know what they're doing, and they're operating in a manner not pleasing to our communities, as well as to represent good practice for board members. So I don't want to, repeat a lot of things that was already shared, but I do want to say, again, thank you for trying to bring some type of oversight to HOAs as homeowners and as board members, because we definitely lack training, experience, a standard across the board, even as it relates to the fees and things of that nature. Many of these boards are charging whatever they think is fair, but at the same time, they're using it in a manner unbecoming of the positions in which they hold, and penalizing homeowners, that should not be the case. People have saved for whatever decade or however many years to try to purchase these homes, and to lose a home because your grass was not cut. You know, it is really saddening to hear a lot of the stories. But also, I want to say, when it comes to HOA boards, a lot of times we're faced with legal matters that we may know nothing about, and we can't always go to our city officials, or because they say, oh no, HOAs, you know, they are, you know, a matter of their own. We have no jurisdiction with that, you know. So who do we go to? We have situations where development is coming, and they want to tap into sewage lines that run through our communities. We're trying to find out, hey, what's the impact on our homeowners? Who do we talk to about that? And we can't get any assistance. We have other situations where I think it was another community was expressing that their president sold off part of their common area, right? Why? Because they were the only one operating in that board position, and they just signed off on whatever it was they felt they wanted to do. So again, we need help, and we need it today, not tomorrow, even though I know it's going to be some time before we can actually roll these things out. But, you know, we have boards being taken, you know, brought up on charges and things like that. So, you know, at what point do we really get the help we need as homeowners so that we can operate in peace, which we do have the right to do, and also encourage homeowners to get involved, because a lot of these boards are operating in the manner in which they are because homeowners have, you know, they feel like, oh, well, you know, it's not going to do anything. Just like with election season, we get a lot of people that don't vote because they don't feel like they can make a change or make a difference. But we need our homeowners to stand up, because there is power in numbers. So we need to encourage homeowners.
Correct.
Stand up, get involved, make a difference. And if something is happening that you don't want to happen, you have the power to change that. So you need to use that. And so that's all I'll say for today. If you have any
I
questions for me.
think that is excellent. Thank you. Would you like to ask a question? We thank you, and we need to continue to collaborate.
Thank you.
Thank
I look
you.
forward to it.
Okay, thank you. Our next speaker is Shirley Ann Allen. Hi, Miss Allen. Please come forward.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Oh,
Yeah,
it is.
it is afternoon. Glad to see that something finally is going to be addressed, and hopefully resolution will come of hearing what people say. I'm a property owner, Crystal Lake Golf and Country Club South in Henry County. And I second the motion of what Caroline Simmons has, you know, said. We're dealing with some of the same issues, and the other lady, Miss Pritchard from South Fulton County, the same issues. The issue that mainly we've been dealing with in Crystal Lake has been fair elections to remove the board.
Okay.
Most recently, there's an election coming up, supposedly November 20th, for election of new officers. In the past, they have not had an election according to Robert's Rule of Order. I understand the election that's coming up now is supposed to be by paper ballots. Who does paper ballots?
Georgia trying to do paper ballots again, so they don't want to get rid of the machines.
Well, the last election was not according to Roberts. It was a open mic. It was not. The ballots were collected and taken back to Century Management to count. Mm-hmm. And open records said, and the bylaws said, within a year could ask for the accounting as to who got what. Well, I asked for that, and I got kickback saying, according to the board, I'm not allowed privy to that information. I've asked for several open records, contracts for the attorney who represents the association. Recently, within the last 2 months, I got kickback saying, according to the board, I'm not privy to that information. I asked for open records for the contract for the security patrol, who we're paying thousands of dollars per year kickback. I'm not privy to that information. So they're not honoring.
Can they do that, Mr. Lawyer?
Well, I guess it's, I mean, open records, I think in general is applicable to public agencies and
Oh,
departments,
but not to members.
necessarily to private, yeah.
Okay.
So not for contracts?
But we have to see their
Yeah.
bylaws too.
Yeah. Century Management and the association attorney is doing what the board is saying. Whatever the board, they're hiding behind Century Management. Over the years, I've asked for, before the last election, just to meet with them, with a couple of homeowners. They didn't want to meet with us. As a matter of fact, when I read the bylaws, it said that we could go to the monthly meeting. And when I started going to the monthly meeting with a couple of other homeowners, then I get there, they say, this is a executive meeting, but the general meeting, so I got in. After about 2 months, 3 months, then they went to Zoom. And now we haven't had a meeting. Here's a couple other homeowners here from Crystal Lake.
Can you,
Raise your hand.
okay.
Then we're being told, we'll let you know. So they're not even meeting with us, in a general meeting. They're still.
You don't have regular meetings?
No, they are having them, but they're not allowed. They're not doing the Zoom. They're not. They're still meeting, but
But they don't invite,
no.
Yeah.
And so this election that's coming up for officers, I believe they're grooming who they want to be so that they can be the puppets behind them. That's what I believe, because the people that are there now, that's what they've done. So they're not honoring our votes. And I think in February, a group of homeowners that were here and a couple other homeowners canvassed the neighborhood to do a petition to remove the board according to the bylaws. We did that out of 672 residents, right? 464 signatures to remove the board, petition to remove the board, was presented to Century Management per instructions. And then we get notice saying that we didn't meet a quorum, even though 69% of the homeowners, and the bylaws said 50 plus 1, 69%, and yet they tell us with no proof, when asked for proof, they didn't count the votes because of fines, violations. No proof, ask for proof of this. So they don't want to go anywhere. The neighborhood has spoke, and yet I think about a couple of weeks after that, the retaliation was, now we get it, an amended and proposed and restated bylaws, which is not written according to Georgia law, federal law. It's not even written according to that. Robert's Rules of Order, I believe, is taken out of the bylaws. And the bylaws are written unilaterally without considering, property owners. And we're POA, actually, which is supposed to have more input and say so, but they're just doing whatever they want to do. Ask for financials, audits, never had an audit. The people that are in there now, which is 3 people, I'm not going to call any names, but they know who they are. They were initially on the advisory board when the sole developer, and then when he left, they were the advisory board, and now they officers that are continuing to kick that dirty can down the road. We haven't been able to follow the bylaws and get rid of them according to the bylaws because they say we didn't have the quorum that we needed. The open records request has not been honored.
Somebody writing this down.
Yeah. I would like to see legislation that requires mediation and negotiation prior to homeowners having to file a lawsuit.
That's why we have the Osbusman.
Okay, that's in
That's
that.
what that's about.
Okay,
And
good.
you don't have to pay them like you would an attorney,
Okay, good.
because you're already paying for an attorney and paying for that management company that's doing this in your regular dues.
Right, okay. And I would like to see, because even though that Crystal Lake is a corporation with officers, I would like to see corporate officers should be required to have liability insurance, errors and omissions and liability insurance. Yeah, for any malfeasance, they should individually, if they make decisions that's out of the law, there should be some type of reimbursement back to homeowners through errors and omissions and liability insurance.
And we're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
One other thing, I'd like to see compliance and resolution and enforcement established. Thank you for your time.
We appreciate it. Any pressing questions? You want to say something? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We have now the last speaker. What, say your name,
I would
please?
do better with my handwriting. It's Nikki.
Oh, I know you.
You know
Hi.
me.
Thank you for coming
Oh,
again.
thank you for having me. Congratulations.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Kudos to all of you.
Say your name again
Kudos.
for the record.
Nikki Boggs. All right, I am going to not try to tap on what everyone else has said for the fear of being redundant, but I will say I'll start off with a xenophobic package sent to me in retaliation, dead bodies, dead woman, lynched black bodies. Defamation lawsuit. Liens on homeowners' homes. Foreclosure. Girls twerking. I got off of the elevator and there are girls twerking in front of the mirror.
Are they residents there?
No, they are, the building's operated, honestly, through STR, and they've taken over the building, so now the building operates as a motel. This little homeless guy you'll see down here, he actually vagrants a lot, but he actually lives in a little tent on the side of our building. He actually comes into the building, walks the floors, finds what he can find, and he goes back out. But we have that often. Drugs, stabbings, shootings. Someone was expelled from a 15-story
Do
window.
you have security?
No. No, we do not.
At one time you had it, didn't you?
We had, at one time, the building was great. So now the building's been taken over by investors, and the majority of the board are investors, and none of them live in the building. And at this point, we are supposed to be a nonprofit, and we are operating strictly for profit. So that's.
So you're, excuse me, I have
No
to ask
problem,
this before
please.
you go further.
No, please
Are
do.
you telling me that nobody on the board is a resident?
No, they may come stay for a couple of days, and they leave
So
with their
they might own
Airbnb.
some of the property?
I'm sorry.
Do they own those condominiums?
They do, under multiple LLCs, so different
Oh.
LLCs. My cat has an LLC, my dog has an LLC, the blade of grass has an LLC, my husband has an LLC, my kids have an LLC, but we're all under the same umbrella, so they have multiple LLCs in the building.
Okay, thank you. Continue, please.
Thank you. So the voting process, and again, I with them regarding the quorum and the voting, so they monopolize the voting. And in short, they'll make sure that you have a fine. So we have multiple assessments, capital assessments. We just received another one. Now we'll get a 1.9% on our HOAs. Our HOAs, the highest one is $1,300 a month for double billing of water, gas, electricity, no security, and that's what we pay. And now they're adding on another 1.9% of CPI. What they did the last year, yes.
What,
Sure.
what facility is, I mean, what?
This is a Landmark condominium, downtown Atlanta, 215 Piedmont Avenue, northeast. Landmark
Yes.
condominium.
Where
So,
many of our legislators
yeah, a lot of the legislators will
own
be
it
there in
because they
such.
have to go back and forth.
Well, they do. There are, I think, a few left, but the majority, when session would be in,
Or, yeah, they
they would
left.
be there, and it was great, you know, and it operated wonderfully. And then when they would go home to their respective cities or states or wherever they were going, they would rent. So then we would have a long-term renter, which is very different
Is
than.
it like Airbnb that they rent their places, or they?
Well, now
renting-
it's Airbnb. So
I just want to clarify. I was contacted by Airbnb. They do no longer allow people to Airbnb at Landmark. It may be other venues that they're using, but
Well,
it's
they
no
just
longer
stopped.
Airbnb. So if you know of that happening, if you can let us know so that the representative from Airbnb that did contact me after our last meeting, we can let them know.
all they have to do is go on the website.
Well, they didn't
Okay.
contact the
all
chairman
they have
or
to do.
any of the committee. Thank
Okay.
you for letting
Yeah.
us know.
Yeah, just
And
wanted to
then
share that.
also our other member, Senator Freddie Power Sims, who's not here today, lives there too.
Yes, she does.
During the session, you know, of course, that's why most of them buy those condominiums, because they live
Because it's close
all
by.
over the state. But during the session, they want to be close to the here.
Understood. Yeah, I completely understand it. And as I said, you know, normally when the senators are in the building, once they leave after the 3-6 months, then they rent. And so we have people that we see every day. You know, it's not a motel, if you will, which is actually how we're operating now. So. With that said, they took the CPI the last several years, combined them, which is illegal, and then they said, this is your new HOAs. We get nothing for it. We have no amenities. They took all of our common spaces, and now we have multiple assessments. So now we are on the hook for a fraud case, a federal case that the homeowners will be on the hook for a fire that took place in a private space that an Airbnb group operated out of.
Did you hear that, Senator?
That, and then there's another lawsuit that is in place from a contractor. And this is not just millions of dollars, this is millions of dollars. And this is money that if you end up staying there, you'll end up purchasing your unit maybe twice over. The object of the game with this group is to push us out of the building. So they've done capital assessments, votes, they tried to change the bylaws. They just sent out another one where we'll end up paying another $2,500 coming up for another assessment outside of the capital assessment. And of course, if you don't pay it, Georgia law allows them to place a lien on your property and then foreclose. I'm not sure if it's non-judicial or not. I'm saying all of that to say, with all of these kind people, the foreclosure has to come off the table. It has to come off the table. I've lived there for 15 years. And I'm going to lose my home because of predatory property investors. This is something that I've been fighting for. August 1st was my 4th year. I'm going into my 5th year fighting this battle. So they're retaliating heavily. They're after me. And that's where we
Yes.
are. There are people that are taking their assessments and they're putting them in an escrow account. The board has been alerted to it multiple times, as well as the unlicensed property manager who threatens us and bullies us often, and it's per the full permission of the board. That's usually the game. So
I'm going to ask our legal department to help us find something to put in it and make a law against what's going on.
Can we meet, let me meet with her after the meeting?
Yes.
I would be glad to. Thank you.
Thank you.
There also should be something in place similar to, and I really am a nice person, I am. I'm just business mode right now. And it's because it's frustrating. You know, we come home and we don't have the peace of mind. You walk up to the
Yes.
door and it's just like, oh my God, what's going on now? You get in the elevator, who is that? You see people with guns on their hips. And it's a hotel, so people are not thinking it's a resident. They're not aware of it, and they're coming to have a good time.
Right.
I suggested to the homeowners to put a doorbell camera on your door, because at this point, we're at jeopardy because this group does not care about us. It's almost, HOAs remind me of homeowners stealing from homeowners. I just have the legal right to steal from you. So I'm going to inflict as much pain as possible to get what I want from you, or get you out because I want your property. And that's what's unfortunate. We have a plethora of seniors in the building who are really great people, and they've lived there for many, many, many years. The building was erected in maybe the early 60s, late 50s, early 60s. It is a historical building, and it needs to go under that protection. I think any building in the state of Georgia should go under that jurisdiction. I'm from New York, and we have a lot of old buildings that we love. And same thing, I've been to the UK. Same thing, they appreciate their older buildings. As I go down the street, I recognize the Stitch program and them trying to stretch things out. And so the object of the game appears to be to get us out of the building. If that's the case, there's a better way of doing it than pushing us out in this manner. They're after me because I've been speaking out the most I've been in the public. So my usual thing that I always say is, if I get sick, I die, become incapacitated, something happens to me, please do the due diligence and find out who's attempting to cause me harm or who's actually taking me. I think it's a tragedy that the Senate and the state and the city has taken this long to go through this. I understand your battle, so I thoroughly understand it, but it's just unfortunate that we should not be here. This should not be a conversation we should have. We should all be here saying, what can we do to help you guys? What can we do to make things more delicious?
You've been such a big target.
Yes.
Because you have the premium property.
Yes.
In the downtown
That is
Atlanta
correct.
area.
That is correct.
Right at International Boulevard.
That is absolutely correct.
And it's a very nice, beautiful building.
It
It
is.
was.
It was.
It still
It was a
is.
beautiful building.
On the outside.
Well, they're
it's still-
distressing it now. So they're literally distressing the building so that the elevators, we didn't have elevators, I think, for 4 or 5 days. So we have seniors, it's you can write a screenplay on this one. You can write a screenplay on this one.
And you do have an attorney, right, that's working with you?
That's
or
on
Have you
staff.
called the police?
We've
and
called,
made-
the police have been called on us for disorderly conduct. I know, by the, I'm hurrying, by the property, unlicensed manager. She actually, to give you an example, I was helping a neighbor move a chair. She says, hey, can you help me? Went down, helped her, we put the chair in. It's just a fluffier chair, but 2 people had to carry it. We got in the elevator, then all of a sudden, I received a fine for $1,000. And the fine read because you didn't rent the elevator and you were moving furniture. And so I sent it to the home. I was tickled because I thought, this is just pathetic. This is absolutely pathetic. This is abuse. This is terroristic practice. This is tactics. And we have no one. We go to the police. Oh, we can't do anything. Is it criminal? I say, yeah, it's criminal. Get over here. It's that. We go to the city. Everybody kind of just, stares at you and nobody does anything. It's heartbreaking that this is what we get to live with. When my taxes are due, you have no problem finding me and getting that money. When it's time to vote or renew my license and stuff, you have no problem threatening me, saying, if you don't do this at this time, this is what's going to happen. If I get a ticket, I receive multiple notices. Hey, the ticket's due, So, but we're all doing right by the law. Mm-hmm. We're law-abiding citizens. We just want to come home and relax. And these people are threatening us now to come into our units. I'm a homeowner. I'm not a renter. You cannot walk into my unit. But they're threatening to come into our units. We need to inspect something for the fire that took place in their space in 2024. So now all of a sudden they want to come in our units. One time it was because of air quality. Next time it was because there were water leaks. And it's just like, I am a homeowner. You're misconstruing where we are and what we're doing. And I will hurry with this because there's so much, and we can talk about most of it later. Retaliatory actions, there has to be something on the books. There has to be some type of enforcement. Because at this point, as I said before, there are people where, I'm sure I have a lien at this point, but my point is all of this, and then they're trying to foreclose. But my point to this is, if people that are in the building are withholding their money, but they're placing it in an escrow account, as I said before, we've sent certified letters sharing with them. We don't trust you because there's no transparency. We don't know what's going on with where the money is. It's absolutely fantastic. It is really a fantastic civics lesson. This has been brilliant. And I can't be mad because I have done my best, and this is a journey that I will walk. until something is done. And if I can help in any way, in any capacity, I'll do my best. But I don't think anybody's withholding money because they just want to be mean or something. But at this point, we have so many assessments that they're throwing down the pipe that people are struggling to make their mortgage payments and pay their other bills because now they're forcing you to pay another copious amount of money.
Okay.
You're good.
Ms.
So,
Buggs,
yeah, so that's basically it.
Okay,
I'm sure
can
we'll.
you get with Dorian before
Yes.
you, or you already talking?
Yeah.
Okay, because you have brought up a few issues that we might not have in our current legislation. So we want to make sure that we address it and hopefully get it passed. So thank you very much.
And I just want to say
We
one more
have
thing.
one more
Yeah, I just want to say just one quick thing.
because we were supposed to finish by 1.
Probably 2 hours ago, really. But my thing is, I just think we're all so vexed about what's happening, and it's so egregious. And it's the fact that you go to all of your offices and your government officials, and you're begging for help, and everybody's saying, "Well, there's nothing I can do. Go speak to this person." And the city stares at you and then dismisses you, and you're just like, "Okay," It's all you can do is bang the drum and hope that somebody, whether it be nationally, just somebody says, there's a problem. Because I'm watching buildings on every corner, new buildings erected, like in a day. I'm thinking, where did that come from? And we're fighting to keep our homes with people that had the intention of pushing us out. If you want us out, I have a number. You can pay me, and you can have the unit.
Well,
but that's just the
we
way to
don't
go
want
with
you
it.
to have to leave.
No, I don't want to either.
You have really gone more than the extra mile in trying to stop the problems that are going on. So we are happy that you're here today and bringing forth this legislation. And don't leave us. We're going to work together.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
Ms.
We-
Buggs, I just
one
want to
question.
say that, we may not be able to solve all of the issues this quickly, but I have reached out to the Airbnb representative to make sure that the landmark is not on their platform. And so I will follow up with you once I hear back from them. So that's one small fix that we can hopefully try to make, because I was encouraged when they did reach out to me and say that they were going to, or it had been removed from their platform. So if it is back up there, we'll make sure that it's taken off.
But there are other platforms that.
Right, I can't speak to the other ones,
Yeah,
but
I know
I
you-
can say the encouraging thing is
But tell us
Airbnb
what
is
they are
listening
so
and
we can
understand.
address.
Yeah, but it's just the building should not have, it should not have gotten this far. I think
Correct.
4.25 years ago when I mentioned it, if it would have stopped, then we would not be here. And again, I would be here asking you, what can I help you with? What can I
Okay.
do? Can I be an advocate for you? And that's the difference.
Yes, to
Yeah.
all of that.
Yes, okay.
But we have only, a month and a half or something?
Yeah.
2 months
Understood.
to make sure that we are ready when the session starts.
Well, I've got to get these homeowners that are currently in the building now in jeopardy. I've got to somehow get them protected and off that loop. So that's
And
my
I
goal
know
right now.
people have died in your building
They
from
have
heart
died,
attacks,
yes.
from who came to this meeting.
We don't know how
the
she
first-
died. Yes, we don't know how she died. We will say that, but we came in her unit and she was
I
she
remember.
was gone. So yes, yeah, Judy Clement. So yeah,
They listened to her for a while.
they did.
Because she had been a little lady that lived in a big house in Buckhead years ago.
That's correct.
And became a widow.
Yes, she
And
did.
so she moved and down into the landmark.
Into the landmark, yeah.
And she could not believe the problems that were going on when she got there, and how they even tripled and quadrupled
Yes.
in some of the areas that were just unjust and unfair.
Yeah, it's about
So-
power and money. Power and money.
So
and
thank you. I have to call this meeting to adjourn.
Understood, understood.
Because we have 2 other folk that's going to come up and talk to us
Okay.
too.
Well, I'll
But
be
if
glad
you
to
want to
listen to
be
them.
there, anybody's invited to listen.
Okay, Roger
But we
that.
must end this meeting.
Yes. Thank you very
Do
much.
you have, okay, you're very welcome.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Before we adjourn, I would like for the members to have their last thoughts added.
I just want to say thank you all for your continued support and advocacy. I will get with some folks offline, but thank you all, and thank you for your service, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Senator Kemp?
Just once again, thank you, Madam Chairwoman, for continue to press this issue. And thank you all for continuing to stick with us and continue to share your stories. We hear you. We're trying to do something about it, and just continue to not only reach out to us, but reach out to folks across the aisle, because if we
Please.
want to get anything done, we have to get some buy-in from them. And so I encourage you to reach out to folks across the aisle to keep this issue moving forward. She mentioned that she's trying to get a meeting with the lieutenant governor and the governor. No bill gets to our Senate floor without the lieutenant
approval.
governor giving it the green light. So his office needs to hear from you. Thank you.
That would be great. And I'll just, at this point, close by thanking all of you again for coming and sharing your concerns. They didn't go on deaf ears. We are working very hard. And hopefully we'll be able to pass it. But we still need your help and your support. So again, thank you for your patience too, because we continue to have hearings because this is the first time we had a small group. We had such large groups in the past that we weren't even expecting, and we stayed here 3 and 4 hours, so I guess that's why they're putting limits on us now. But we wanted to make sure that everyone who has a problem or who came here to express their concerns would be heard. So we have your comments. We are going to get together and make sure that in January, and maybe even before that, if we can file early, we will be able to do that. Thank you again, and this meeting is officially adjourned at 1:07. Thank you.